Broadcasting live from sunny South Florida, this is KMA Talk Radio. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of fine cigars. Your KMA crew, the Italian Scallion, Paul DeGracco, Alex Tavella, a.k.a. The Goat, and always telling it like it is, Honest Abe.
I like to smoke them like the Winston Churchill, like John Kennedy, yeah. Remember Coach Red Auerbach, smoked up for victory, yeah. Well, you can take my wife, you can take my car, but you can't take my big cigar. My cigar.
Good morning to all our loyal listeners, libertarians, and lovers of the leaf. I'm your host, Honest Abe, for this week's episode of KMA Talk Radio, number 452, and I am broadcasting from sunny South Florida, along with my trusted gang, the Italian Scallion, the man that we know as Shameless Paul. And, and also with us this morning, as always, the GOAT.
What's up?
How many nicknames am I going to get?
As many nicknames as you keep falling into, my friend.
I kind of like Shameless Paul.
Although me and
Many
Paul
people
were putting
that
in
might
some extra
disagree.
hours last night.
We were. It was a late night for me.
Was it?
What was it?
I mean, we left 10.
Oh, wow.
No,
I
we
mean,
left.
he didn't get here. He didn't get here till 8, so
Oh, well, that's why.
that's a whole other thing.
No, I got there at like 7:30, but then I was chatting with people.
Chacking.
Chacking.
First of all, you were chacking with Anna.
Thank you, sir.
What's that?
So we'll grant you that. It wasn't people, it was Anna. But
No,
you
and
know,
some other people up at the bar.
yeah, they don't know.
Oh, man.
No, they don't know who I am, but I'm a personable guy. I like to speak
You're a
to my
nosy
fellow
guy.
man. That's
Nah,
true
he's-
too.
No, Paul is a nosy guy.
Is he?
We were
Paul-
talking about it a little bit last night.
Paul
There's
is
people that fascinate
historically
me.
asked shameless
I
questions.
mean, mostly we were just talking about Abe because he wasn't there, but that's another thing.
That's true. Yeah,
Nice.
I thought you might be in Disney.
We did. We weren't sure.
No.
We figured if you weren't here this morning, if you were remote, you were in Disney, but you weren't
No.
remote.
Right.
So you weren't in Disney.
No Disney trip.
That's
That's
it. That
too
was
bad.
Paul's guess, and I don't ask. So
That's Paul's guess for everybody. I just spent the day with the kids. They had spring break.
I mean, it was an educated guess. It
I
was an
barely
educated
saw them all
guess.
week.
That's
It
what
wasn't-
I said. That's what I figured. That's
It
what I
wasn't-
figured. Between
It wasn't an educated guess. I asked Paul one question this week, and you walked in, probably saw something on my browser, and you guys all
Right.
got Snoopy.
no, but I said
Yeah,
no.
there's-
Actually,
there's a
I said
conspiracy.
exactly what you said. I said he's probably just hanging with his kids between Great Smoke. He's been absent
Actually-
for 2 months, and it's spring break.
We went to extreme go-karting in Fort Lauderdale. You ever been there?
Is that at?
I've heard about it.
In Pompano.
Is it just go karting, or is that big action park
Dude,
place?
it's
What's it called?
everything. It's everything under the sun.
Yeah.
It's- First off, it's not just go-karting. It's like
Right.
3 levels of it. They got like pro,
yeah.
which they time you and you race other people. It's badass. They got like junior and they got cadet, and they have junior, which is good for like Carmine and Asher. Only problem is Asher was the only one on the track, but he enjoyed zipping around.
That's,
I would love that.
You can see it off a night. It's like Fort Lauderdale, Pompano,
It's Pompano, yeah. They got a trampoline
like
park,
commercial
they got
or something.
arcade,
Action
shit.
park.
They got
I know. what you're talking about.
they got a roller skating rink. They got everything there. Everything. They got a workout if you want to work out. I mean, they literally got
Did you
everything.
roller skate?
They did. I didn't. I used to, but my feet outgrew like rental shoes.
I'm sure they have.
I didn't even think of that.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
My feet
Wow.
feet pretty much ended me roller skating or skiing.
You
Mm.
can't. What is it? Because you need a wide shoe, or is it because
I
it's
have
just too
I have a
large of a
16
foot?
quadruple E, so yeah, I need a
Okay.
big shoe.
Yeah, the
Though I-
quadruple E thing might be the problem.
I was almost tempted to buy a pair of binders once and my own skis to go back skiing because I used to really enjoy skiing.
I've never done it.
Great.
My wife and her family love it. They
I mean,
love
listen.
it. I snowboarded once and I almost died.
I won't snowboard, but I would ski, and I would love to do like a winter Tahoe trip, and take them skiing one year. We probably will. Maybe when they get a little bit
We
older.
just went to the Poconos when we were up in New York for a couple nights to do like snow tubing, but they do snow tubing like the real deal. Like you go up on the little like I don't know what it is, people mover escalator type thing
Ski lift?
with your tubes, slide
Ski
down.
lift?
Well, it's not a ski lift because I think of ski lifts as the like gondolas.
Right.
You know?
So where were you going up? An escalator?
Yeah, it's like a flat,
Okay.
like they have in the airport. You know, the
Okay,
flat
so I
ass,
was
but it
gonna
goes
say,
up the
like,
hill.
At the
The
Poconos?
Extreme
And,
Action Park is actually really cool. Just prepare to drop like Disney style money there.
Oh, really? I
It's-
think you pass it on
I mean,
95.
I got
You
I've
do.
four-
seen
That's exactly. It's
signs.
that big place. All
Yeah,
that's what
I
I'm
got
talking
4
Yeah.
kids. My 2 oldest daughters bought a friend, so it's like, yeah, it was brutal.
about. Ooh.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was a brutal day. But they had fun, and I barely got to see them spring break. I took them to a movie once, and I took the day off actually yesterday, spent the whole day with them. But
What movie?
oh yeah, you saw it. We posted it, the Batman movie. I caught a lot of slack for that.
You did.
I saw Juan Cancel commented
Juan's a
actually.
geek.
I mean,
Juan's a geek. I mean, listen, it just wasn't a good movie. Nobody in my family liked it. None of them.
I don't know but you're the only so far. You're the only negative review I've seen.
I haven't
I
seen-
agree with Alex.
On the same note, I haven't seen nobody raving about it, other than the comments in retort to mine. No one's been saying go see it. You need to go see it either. So I mean, look, it's gonna appeal to the real comic book guys, But you have to remember, man, movies like this aren't made for comic book guys. It needs to have mass appeal. It was really long, 3 hours. So I mean, outside of performances that were amazing by Colin Farrell as the Penguin, he was great. I didn't even know he was the Penguin until after the movie. I kept saying whoever played the Penguin was amazing.
And then you see his name there. That's
And the
cool.
guy who played the Riddler was good. But it was just too long of a storyline, and it was kind of like steampunk Batman.
I mean, I just can't get.
So
into
if you really like,
Twilight Batman is.
if you're like most of the
adjustment.
if you're like most of the culture who's kind of followed Batman and not really like hugely into comic books, it was very steampunk Batman. Like his suit looked like it was steampunk. It was like built by him. The Batmobile looked like it was built by him. His Batcave looked like somebody's garage, man cave. Yeah, it was just an awkward, weird Batman. Not that it was it just wasn't appealing. It just wasn't appealing. It was like Wes said, it really was an hour too long for the movie. And I think sometimes you try really hard to say we're going to make something great. And I think that's what they did. They just overshot and tried to make something great. Pattinson wasn't a bad Batman. He was just
I feel the same way though.
If you play Batman,
Yeah, he doesn't seem tough like a Batman.
Okay, so
I
I'm
don't know.
going to tell you something historically outside of Christian Bale. Every time I heard someone was going to be Batman, I said no way. Right? I didn't think Michael Keaton was going to be a good Batman. I didn't think what's his name, the last Batman, Ben Affleck. I thought he was going to be an awful Batman. I mean, he may not have been a great Batman, but he wasn't an awful Batman. But playing Batman, like, it's got to be such a tough role to do because you're going to be compared to everybody before you.
Oh, and there's so many people that have played,
That's
especially
what I'm
in
saying.
cinema.
So it's really, really a hard role. But he's a different Batman. He's like an emo Batman.
Ugh.
He talks only in whispers. But it wasn't a bad rendition of Batman. It just wasn't my favorite. I think Christian Bale is still going to go down as my favorite Batman of all of them.
You like Christian Bale better than Michael Keaton?
Yeah,
It's two different Batmans.
Wow.
yeah. Christian Bale was
I
close.
did not like Christian Bale as Batman. I loved those movies. They were very well done. Everybody in it was great. I just couldn't get past that Batman voice. I just didn't like it. Hello, I am Batman.
Well, wait
I
till you hear
I
Patterson's
like,
Batman voice. It's a whisper.
really.
I talk everything in a whisper.
Ugh.
But yeah, out of all of them, I think he's the one that I enjoyed the most. Not that I didn't not that I didn't enjoy any of Keaton's Batmans. Keaton was a good Batman, but the Christian Bale Batmans were more Dark Knight Batman, and I think the Michael Keaton were more Adam West Batmans. You know what I'm saying?
Keaton was a good Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
That's actually a great observation, Allison. There's never been a good Bruce Wayne and Batman in the same movie, so they either play one or the other well. I guess I could see that. You know what though? If you're gonna be Batman and you have all that pressure of all these other people doing it for you, you know what everybody's gonna say anyway? Even if you were terrible, they're gonna be like, "Well, I wasn't as bad as Val Kilmer." Everybody seems to hate Val Kilmer.
Yeah, not only everybody hate Batman, most people forget he was even a Batman.
Right.
I like that movie with Jim Carrey. I mean,
Yeah, he was a dopey
Val Kilmer,
like
the best
Jim
Batman.
Carrey, and wasn't that like Arnold Schwarzenegger was in that one too?
Yeah.
I didn't like
as Mr.
I didn't
Freeze.
like Clooney's Batman.
Yeah, he was
Who?
forgettable.
Clooney was terrible.
I didn't think he was terrible, but
As
he
a
was
Batman?
forgettable. Definitely forgettable.
Yeah.
Listen, I love the man. I think he's hilarious. I think the
Clooney?
pranks that he pulls. Yeah, I mean,
Clooney is one of my favorite actors.
I can't speak bad.
One of my favorite movies
I
of
can't
all
speak
time
bad
is
about
Oh
him.
Brother, Where Art Thou?
It's a great movie. The soundtrack's really good. It actually got me into bluegrass.
Soundtrack's good, dialogue's good, writing's phenomenal, acting stellar. That's in all my life. That's probably the movie that I've watched repetitively the most times by far, probably 3 times more than any other movie I've watched more than once.
Which movie?
Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And I seldom watch a movie more than once. Seldom.
That's weird. When I like a movie, I get fixated on it. I'll watch it all the time. I do that with TV shows too, though.
I seldom watch a movie more than once, but when Oh Brother, Where Art Thou came, anytime I turned the TV on and it was on, I just left it on. It was that enjoyable of a movie. And literally some of the best writing I've enjoyed in movie genre. It was brilliant.
I think Alex and I will agree that The Godfather is that, for me at least. I'm assuming for you too. If The Godfather is on, I'd put it on, watch it.
No.
So St. Patty's Day, man. What did you guys do on?
No, because the Godfather.
What a segue.
Wait a minute. Because I knew there was something we had to get to because there's some reason to torture Paul in this. I remember that from the meeting.
Oh,
but
Christ.
The Godfather, there's two movies. The Godfather and Shawshank Redemption. It's on fucking TV on some channel 24 hours a day. Somewhere has it on right now. Both of them. So anyway, St. Patty's Day. We had a reason to torture Paul about St. Patty's Day, I remember.
It was about
why? What did I?
I don't know.
What did you do for St. Patty's Day?
What did you do?
I know.
That's right. I think
I went to our neighbor's house. They were having a little potluck dinner. We brought all the kids. It was a couple of neighborhood people.
I think your exact words were you drove to your neighbor's house.
Yes.
I did. Yeah, because they live on the other side of the lake here.
Oh, so you drove to people that lived in your community.
I drove the golf cart. Yes. That's what you're trying to get out of me.
Yes, the golf cart ride. You loaded everybody in the golf cart.
I have a picture of their driveway, which doesn't reflect exactly how many golf carts there were.
You bought a picture.
Well, it's going to take me a second to get up there. But
I mean,
what's wrong with that? I'm in my community.
Well, I guess I don't know. I think Nate's point was I've never been in any of my neighbors' houses. None of them.
Not one.
Ever. Actually,
recently, a couple months ago, it was a kid's birthday party, and I ended up having to go inside and sing happy birthday. But that's
why I've been.
That's when I was investigating that big truck that they had, with the foam and whatever. So I was kind of looking at this. I'm like, this is an awesome birthday thing, and I ended up getting dragged inside to sing happy birthday.
Our parade.
I can't get the picture.
What does Bill Ragone say?
I think he's talking about maybe St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's parades.
Ugh, they're the worst.
So it continues. Oh, because he's half Irishman. Okay, I could see that.
I used to avoid being in the city because I used to work on the weekends and the weekdays. Like whenever there was a parade, those would be my personal days off. I hated everything about parades.
So, did they use?
I'm trying to determine if Kevin Shahan spelled highness wrong on purpose. You're heinous. More like his anus.
Yeah. So did they use? This was a community dinner.
No, listen. There's a couple of. I'm going to tell you why. There's a couple of moms.
How do you know your neighbors on the other side of a lake?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'll tell you. It's very simple. It's very simple. My children go to a preschool that many of the children in this neighborhood go to, and we've become friendly with one of the parents or a couple of the parents. So they invited us over. They said, "Hey, we're going to do like a little potluck, bring something Irish." and Steffi made Irish soda bread.
You know why? You know why I love my wife? Because
She doesn't make you do that stuff.
Attention. Like
My
wife, we got kids in our neighborhood who go to kids with our school. I mean, obviously they have friends that come over and whatnot, but like if there's like an invite in the community, my wife doesn't even bring it to my attention. I don't even have to know about it.
Yeah, but she goes.
No, sometimes, but not really.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, Marissa, like yesterday, Marissa was like, "Hey, Elise invited us for dinner on Sunday." I said, "Who?" She said, "Not you." I said, "Okay, yeah, sure, go ahead."
Right, but it's typically not dinner. It's kids' play dates, or she'll go drop the kids off and hang out with the mom for a little bit. But
yeah, that's what we do, and that's how we know these people. All right, this is their house.
You're in their house, bro.
Yeah, but you're going.
Yeah, you're in their house.
These were the golf
cart.
carts. And there's three more.
Look at it. That's why. It was
There's three more in the street.
Did you feel your golf cart was inadequate compared to the rest?
No, mine's only a year old, so no.
6-seaters and
I wanted a 6-seater. You can't get them. It's unbelievable. The golf cart market's like your truck, Abe. You people get them like shipped from like California and Arizona to get them.
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what. Cool as a golf cart is, I will take our fucking rickshaw driver last week over any golf cart. I'll put him against anybody. I mean, that dude was
Alex actually
at the Renaissance Fair.
Alex actually freaked out at one point because he did.
Bro, this guy was whizzing in a rickshaw.
In between oncoming traffic.
Oh yeah.
Where did you take a rickshaw?
Renaissance Fair, bro. We're also
at the Renaissance Fair. Get into the car where we park.
Listen, if you get there before 8 a.m., you got to park 30 miles back. So you might as well pay the guy $20 and take the rickshaw.
I'll tell you what was a miracle, though, believe it or not. I lost my cell phone at the Renaissance Fair, and we found it.
This was teamwork at its finest, getting this.
Found it.
How did you find it?
Thousands of people. I found it in a grassy knoll. How about that?
There was no Find My iPhone. Yeah.
So
literally,
we're leaving the Renaissance Fair. We take the rickshaw. The rickshaw drives us. Like, it's a main road, so he drives you at the end of where you park. So after he drives us, we had to walk, I don't know, maybe a block or two down a grassy knoll to get to our car. We get to our car.
And when you say rickshaw, a guy like pedaling, right?
Pedaling with me, Alex, and our 2 boys on her.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God. Yeah. That poor man.
He was flying.
Hitting it.
He was flying. So we get to my car and I realize I don't have my phone. I'm like, fuck, I left it in the rickshaw. So we get back out. And now we're trying to find this rickshaw guy.
First of all, total luck of the fucking draw that we even found the guy. First rickshaw we saw was him.
Literally, we first off, it took us a while just to even figure out how to get to the main road.
Right.
We get to the main road, we start heading all the way. We start driving back to the entrance where we rickshawed from. And the first guy oncoming is the dude. We wave him down. We tell him, hey, Dad, leave my phone. He makes his couple get up. He's looking underneath the cushion.
He was cool about it. Really.
Wow.
So
not there.
It's not there. I'm like, fuck. So the only thing I could imagine is, because I remember having it when I left. If it's not in the rickshaw, I must have dropped it. And the only way I could drop it and not hear it or notice it was on a grass. And I remember at one point my son had his bag of cotton candy open and I was reaching to get it. So I was probably fumbling with my hands. I said, let me drop it. So we go back to try to find the exact spot where he dropped us off. And we figured it out. And then I parked my car and I just started walking the grassy knoll. And Alex just kept calling my phone. And sure enough, found a phone. It was mind-boggling, but we took it.
Wow.
We took it. Man, that ruins a day. I remember I lost my phone coming back from vacation at the airport. Coming back.
Oh.
It ruins your trip, man. You got to come back.
Yeah, that ruins the whole thing.
Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal.
Have you ever lost it where you didn't find it? Like, did you try Find My iPhone?
I think we were coming back from the TAA. We're in Mexico. And we were going into the airport and they had like, a half wall there, and I put my phone on top of the half wall because my wife was doing something in luggage. We walked into the airport. I'm telling you, man, it wasn't 15 seconds. And I realized I left my phone. I went back. That phone was gone. The ringer was off. It was done. It was gone.
Somebody's looking for those things.
Oh, yeah. It was so fast. Somebody must have saw me put it up there. Somebody must have saw me put it up there and just saw me walk away. And that's how fast, because it was so like obscure of a spot.
Have you ever cracked the phone?
Oh yeah.
Like the screen?
Yeah.
Sure.
Really?
Once, maybe.
I've done it at least 3 times.
Once.
Really?
I cracked my phone so bad.
Marissa cracks her phone like every other month. I just don't understand how.
I cracked my protector.
Yeah, my wife too.
I crack my protective screen
Yeah.
regularly. Yeah, I got.
And listen, I don't know what it is, but you're not a professional qualified bartender unless you have a phone with a completely cracked screen. That's almost
Yeah,
like
what is it with that?
I don't know, bro. But it sounds like a funny and it sounds like a dig. But go see your local bartender. I guarantee her phone screen is cracked. It just is what it is, and I don't know why.
It was just,
and it's like spider web cracked. Like,
yeah, it's spider web.
You're absolutely right.
I see people using his phones with like 8 gajillion cracks in it. It would
Yeah.
drive me nuts.
Right.
It would drive me
Right.
nuts.
It can cut you too. I cut my thumb
Yeah,
on
of
one of
course
the
it can.
when you used to have to slide to open. I cut my thumb on an old phone that was cracked.
Yeah, it would drive me nuts. If I have one crack across it, it'll drive me nuts. I don't know how they use that. Like it's shattered into a million pieces.
Right. There's a blue line strip going down the right side.
I swear I don't know how they use it.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I've never lost a phone completely, but I did recently lose all of my keys, and we still haven't found them. And when we returned my wife's car, I thought that like the keys were like $300 to replace. $700 we were charged for my key that was missing. However, for her car, because I had her car key that was missing, my car key that was missing, my house key, my everything. Their keys are just gone.
When you traded your car,
we turned in the lease. We turned in the lease.
No, I only had one.
No, they know they give you 2. You got to turn.
It doesn't work that way.
Thank you, Steve Brooks. He doesn't know his head from his ass. No, I only had one. Here it is.
Oh, well, I listen. I'm going to tell you, Steve Brooks. He probably just paid it. I'm telling you, he does.
So that happened to me actually. This guy's a friend of ours.
My one key right away because I know I'd lose it.
I'll tell you what I'm shocked by, and I think this just recently happened to you, but I am shocked that I have yet to lose an AirPod.
Wow, yeah.
I haven't lost an AirPod.
They have that little case.
I really lost the whole thing. I recently lost the whole thing. It's right during the base.
I'm shocked I haven't lost an AirPod yet. I sometimes got to spend a half an hour finding them.
You know what I find hilarious about the AirPods?
Yeah.
It's like they're designed. I don't know if you've noticed it, but if you drop them, they like explode. Like your AirPod lands 400 feet away.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's like it blows them out of the sockets, and you're like, where the frick did this AirPod go? It's gone.
I still have held off on AirPods. I have these Bose ones that I use because I feel like the sound is better.
It may be, but I wear them in bed, and I just don't think that's going to be comfortable in bed.
I like this to
No, it's not. This is not comfortable at all.
It's too big. Yeah.
In bed.
Well,
yeah.
I wear mine in bed.
But the sound sounds good. But I don't know. I'll get AirPods eventually because I'm a sucker.
Eventually, they've been out like for 4 years.
I know.
When they come out with the third generation.
By the time you have AirPods, they're gonna have built-in stuff. You just sink it in your ear by the time you get AirPods. All right, it's that time. We got probably a pretty jam-packed, exciting show today.
Speaking of technology.
Speaking of technology and the man with servers that he ships in body bags. Let's get our Meet Your Maker on.
I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell.
It's time to meet your maker.
Mr. Macedonia.
I like that body bag comment.
Bro, probably
Did we ever even plug that thing in?
No. Still sitting in the warehouse.
It's going to sound like an airplane taking off when it powers up.
Listen, how do you forget the guy who gives you your first like body bag experience?
Well, I've seen some of your employees, man.
It's the first time I ever saw one. And I'm almost afraid to ask, why do you have access to body bags?
I got one in the garage somewhere around here.
There you have it.
Yeah, you never.
Well, when Ristefari happens, sometimes somebody goes down, so he's got to be prepared.
That was one of the plans, honestly, is like when someone passed out, we were going to put him in a body bag.
Can you imagine waking up in a body bag?
Oh my God, that would be the best prank ever. But that person's scarred for life.
I wouldn't have to worry about that.
Waking up in a coffin, I guess.
Yeah.
It's better than a bathtub full of ice.
That's true.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I don't think you're waking up in a bathtub full of ice. I think you're waking up going into a bathtub full of ice.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Because if you're waking up in a bathtub full of ice, you were really fucked up.
Well, if you wake up in a bathtub full of ice, you're probably missing a kidney, I think.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. So Ristefari just happened recently?
Yeah, last Saturday.
So tell us about Ristefari for any of our listeners who don't know what exactly Ristefari is.
It's a gathering of the finest pit trolls on the internet and all Facebook. What it is, it's just an event I throw. It's like more of a give back. I cook a ton of food, do a bunch of cigars like super cheap. You know, it happens once a year. I think it sucked this year because of the weather. It was like 27 degrees.
Ooh.
You know, so I mean, I still had, a 40 by 40 foot tent, heaters. It was actually hot inside the tent, but just outside, you know what I'm saying? It was just cold.
And you do this on your property?
No, this is at a shop, but next year I'm doing it in the fall and it will be on my property. I'll have like a couple pigs on a, roaster going on and something different,
And how many people come down for this?
This year was about 100.
That's a lot of people, man.
I got a pretty big property. The best year when it was the warmest, about 300 people showed up.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
and this
you
is
never know what's going to
essentially,
happen.
it's just like you're selling stuff, but it's just a gathering of friends.
Yeah. I mean, what it is, everyone, yeah.
Like, let's hang out together, party, and
I mean,
a lot of fucking people show up for a party.
People start showing up Wednesday, man. So I was kind of hosting since Wednesday night.
Wait till they start tailgating outside of your house.
Yeah. Now, is it always in March?
This was the last year in March. Yeah, it's because the original first one, the first group of guys that come down, hang out with me. The first, we call them the OG9. They came down.
There was 9 guys.
The very first one, it was just 9 guys that called me and said, "Hey, we want to hang out with you for a day." And like, you're like the meeting point. It was guys from West Virginia and guys from Minnesota, and they just showed up, and we had a great time. And what it was those 9 guys just started telling everyone, like, "Yo, we had a really fucking cool time with this guy." And people show up, and the following year, same people come, but they always bring 1 or 2 people.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how the great.
Does Quentin Nation sleep on your couch?
There was one year I think he couldn't walk for like 4 hours.
I should have made you grab the $20 bill he still owes me.
Oh, that's true.
I should have
put a bounty on him again. I
would have sent it to you. We would have put him in a body bag.
He owes me $20.
Dude,
send a body bag with just a 20.
I think the guy's never going to come to a smoking function just to avoid giving me the $20 bill.
I can see that. I mean, he lives like 5 hours south from me, so.
So how many years has the party been going on?
The first one I kind of don't count. It was just a gathering, but this was the 6th year.
Well,
yeah.
Got a track going good.
Yeah,
I see a lot about it. People always post about it. People always look forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's drinking going on. There's a lot of cigar smoking going on. I think there's a card game that went on for like 19 hours or something, like Friday into Saturday. So it's just like,
don't do that, Chris. Thor will just set you up and send it 20 just to make $30.
Right.
Yeah,
that's true.
He's probably gonna cash at me right now $20.
I mean, this is the guy who shaved his own eyebrows to try and win a bounty. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, I put a bounty on him. He found out about it. He shaved.
That was Lance Ristefari, wasn't it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he literally he collapsed and couldn't walk for like 4 hours. So he just sat against the back wall and was drinking for the 4 hours he couldn't walk too. So
Lazonapalooza has become known for busting chairs, right? In fact, this year I saw someone ship their own chairs.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Lazonapalooza. So is your event's kind of really tied to a lot of hijinks going on? A lot of marking up people, a lot of guys get pretty wild there.
Yeah. Last year, so like the tent, the chairs, I get it from my brother. My brother owns like probably one of the biggest rental companies out here. And day after the event, his wife texts me and she's like, "How did you break 9 fucking chairs?" And I go, "You saw the guys that were there. I mean, come on." So it goes on, I mean, one year, one guy, I mean, Steve Sacco will tell you one of the best stories at the event of, a chick puking like everywhere. around him.
God.
And Saka was trying to eat the whole time, and his chick was just puking everywhere around him.
But it didn't stop him, I guess.
I gotta
what
commend Saka for going there. I really do, because I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's kind of an event that like I kind of would like to go to, but just not sure if I want to be there. I'm too afraid of what may end up happening.
He pulled up, and two of the guys that went to go see him, they're like, dude, I think Saka was about to pull a gun on me in the parking lot. This is how we looked. But no,
it doesn't seem like his scene.
He had a great time, dude. He was there longer than I was. I mean, I was hammered, and we know Steve. When Steve drinks, he talks, and you know.
Oh,
yeah.
When he got there, I know he's a big Scotch guy, so I had a bottle of Scotch. It was a Belvini. It was a super rare one, and me, Saka, and like four other dudes chugged it before I allowed him to go inside the event. You know, so
wow.
It was a good time. But yeah,
there was some drinking.
There's a lot of things that happened. I mean, one guy passed out twice, and the second time he passed out, he was literally like he was pissing himself at the table outside.
Oh gosh,
drunk.
Oh, God.
And he won a prize, and one guy's like, he's knocked out. I was like, well, wake him up. He doesn't win the prize unless he can walk up and grab it. So this guy literally walked into the shop with just like pissed on his leg, grabbed the prize, and went back and like passed out. It's a good time. Yeah, it's not your normal cigar event. I wouldn't even call it like a cigar event, really. You know, it's a fun time.
So I think it's your third time on KMA Radio, and you know there are our listeners and fans who don't know your history, Riste. Why don't you give us a quick synopsis of how you actually got into the cigar business?
I mean, I started off, you know, I was a big time Cuban smoker, big time Cuban collector, and I was getting into New World cigars at the time, and about a year into it, you know,
You have a hell of a collection. You're just not a collector. Like, I mean, I've heard you telling stories. You got like a retarded collection of cigars.
Yeah, I got some boxes as well, like close. Some are worth, you know, $8,000 to $10,000, you know, just for a 25-count box. I got one box that people have been trying to buy off of me. It's the original release, the Cohiba, the really small one from like '95. No one collected that, and the reason I was told that is because it was like a women's cigar. And so I have people around the world that are trying to finish their original release Cohibas from that year. Yeah, they're just offering me stupid money for that one, you know. But I mean, I sold half of it, gave it to my kids, and then I got about half left, and I'll sell it. You know, I mean, I'll take one box and buy my kid, you know, cars when they're 16 or something, you know. So,
Jeez.
But I wanted to make my own cigar. You know, I thought I wanted to make something for myself, and then, you know, I flew down to Nicaragua, made my own blend, and it just took off. You know what I'm saying? Like, people were like, one of the questions I get asked a lot is like, how did you market your brand? And one cigar review guy kind of said it how I did it. They said, you've seen what this guy smokes for the past year. Why wouldn't you buy a cigar he made for himself? You know? And I think that year alone, I probably smoked like $40,000 worth of just vintage Cubans, like weekly, daily on Facebook. It wasn't like a marketing thing. It's just what I was just smoking, you know? And it just took off. I got more sales overseas at first, and people in the U.S. were like, well, fuck, if these guys are buying, it's got to be good. And it just took off from there, you know?
At first, you were selling directly to consumers, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So to go from selling directly to consumers to now trying to wholesale and be in retailer brands, that was a big step, no?
Yeah, that was a pretty big step for me. I mean, because it's, you know, direct to consumer is just money coming in nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
But what it was everyone kept going to their local cigar lounge smoking my cigar that they don't sell. And when I decided to go to stores, I mean, people came to my booth and was like, listen, guy's been smoking your shit for 2 fucking years in my lounge. I'm buying it. I don't care what the price is. You know, I never like cold called the shop. I never like set a marketing plan to target shops. I mean, my consumers at that time, after going direct to consumer, were my marketing guys, you know, and a lot of them were asking, you know, hey, start getting in the shop. So it'd be really cool to walk into a shop, buy one stick or something, smoke it on a Wednesday or Tuesday. You know, it'd be cool to see you finally in stores locally. So it worked out well. You know, I mean, it was kind of opposite approach what everyone else does, you know.
What was your first year you did the trade show?
2016.
So 2016 was your first trade show, and then you caught a lot of flack one year at the trade show.
I mean, fuck, I catch flack all the time.
I think it was the first time you caught flack. I think it was when was it the CBD issue or
The CBD issue was caught me a lot of flack at PCA or IPCPR at the time.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was great marketing. I mean, like I said, I thank Charlie for that one, you know.
But they basically said you couldn't advertise it or have it or show it on the floor.
I couldn't sell the cigar on the floor, which doesn't make sense because other companies were another company was selling their own cigar with CBD. I don't know if you remember that one company had like that National Geographic of that popular girl.
No.
Background. Yeah. But what it was everyone kept going to that booth asking for my cigar, and they ended up coming back to my booth. And so, I mean, what I did, I just invited everyone back to the house I had rented, and I'm like, hey, man, I can't sell it here technically, but you're more than welcome to enjoy some steaks and stuff and beer at my house, you know. So it worked out, but it doesn't make sense why I got, you know, they singled me out while 6 booths over, a guy was showing his CBD cigar and everything.
I think the timing of having you on the show is kind of just worked out for us here. I mean, do you feel like you're singled out by the cigar industry?
Yeah, 100%.
Why do you think that is, or why do you believe that is?
I mean, all my reviews, not reviews, but like my press releases on half will get pretty much destroyed sometimes. Nugs came out, you know, that went crazy. This recent one I did, I mean,
You might have to explain to some of our listeners who don't know your products, which we'll get into. But Nugs was the
first premium cigar infused with CBD in the market.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then you've come out now Nugless.
Nugless is because I had a lot of federal employee customers that were saying, "Hey, I want to try it, but I don't. It would be cool to taste the blend without CBD." So I released Nugless, which is the same cigar without the infusion process.
And so going back to why is it you think, because look, there's a lot of new guys who are up and coming. Why?
I just do things different. I mean, when I first got into this industry, like people were telling me, "It's like, all right, this is what you have to do. This is what everyone else does." And my response was like, "Well, I don't have to do anything what you're telling me to do." You know, because they're like, "Okay, make your cigars, and then now you got to get into shops and market and this." I'm like, I'm going direct to consumer. I was told, "Hey, you'll never get in a shop if you go direct to consumer." But that was false. I do things different, man. You know, people that worked with me, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not your normal cigar brand. You know, I love doing it.
I was one of those guys who told you that you wouldn't get, I didn't say you wouldn't get into any shops. I said it would be very hard to get into shops.
Yeah, correct.
You know, I mean, some guys will carry the brand, but I mean, if a guy's making and I give this, I can't tell you how many times, I think I just said it to a couple guys yesterday, the other day. You know, the model of going to direct to consumers will always be a positive cash flow, right? You got no overhead. You're selling directly to consumers. Your markup is great. Hard to build a brand, hard to build a national brand, something that even somebody would acquire, because most retailers, if you're going to go that route, essentially you become a retailer. You're a manufacturer that's a retailer also. So there's no reason for me to carry your brand. My customers can go online and buy it directly from you.
Correct.
And, you know, if you want to be in 2, 3, 4, 500 stores, it's going to be hard to do if you're going to sell directly to consumer. The problem is when you go that route, your margins become a lot lower, your overhead, your cash flow, because then you get to the point where now you're not just selling directly to consumers, you're providing cigars to 200, 300 retail doors. Yeah. So your investment of what you have to have on hand grows. And typically in the first 5 years, if you're having success, you're having major cash flow problems because you have to buy future product.
You got to buy a year's worth of product in that month, you know, sometimes.
Yeah. So that's the dynamic. It's a lot harder to make a positive cash flow living when you go that route, but there's a big potential upside. So I was one of the ones that had that conversation with you.
In your office. I mean, we talked about it.
Yeah. Do you still think that was a good move for you?
I think it was a great move until COVID happened.
What happened during COVID that affected you, that you thought that it negatively affected you?
Well, I mean, 90% of the cigar stores closed.
Right.
And the ones that survived were direct, you know, they were selling online. I mean, I mean, how many cigar shops are alive right now because they had online presence? Probably all of them. How many are out right now that were true brick and mortar that didn't sell online? They probably closed their doors or were hurting, you know.
But your short wasn't made up by those who did sell your product online, because everybody kind of knows it's not a secret. Anybody who sold online experienced huge increases across all brands because people weren't able to walk in their local brick and mortar and buy cigars.
Four or five times, explosion of growth.
Okay, so then why do you think COVID negatively affected you then if you had that growth during COVID?
Well, I'm in a lot of cigar stores that don't sell online too. I'm in a lot of small pop shops. You know what I'm saying?
When they weren't able to go in there and buy it, you don't think they just found it online? Whoever was selling it online?
Oh, I did. They did. A lot of people messaged me, and I sent them to your site. I sent them to a couple other people too. But I think at that time would have been, I thought about going back to direct to consumer, like the April after COVID happened. Business wise, it would have been a good move. I would have capitalized a lot more money on it.
Sure.
I stayed true to the people I said, I'm not going back online, because that was my motto when I went back to PCA, because I went 16, I skipped 17 and went straight to overseas. I think it was 18 when I came back, and my motto was, I'm done going factory to your door. I'm going brick and mortar around the world.
So a lot of your marketing is, pretty on edge. One of them being the poster that's on the wall right behind you.
I speak and do what I say.
And I think that's why you have such a loyal fan base. A lot of the people who enjoy your blends and cigars appreciate that and enjoy that and like that and respect that.
Yeah, it's not a 9 to 5 to me. I mean, if you meet me at 11 o'clock at night, you're going to get the same person in the morning. It's not like I go to an event and I put on a face and I leave and it's completely different, which so there's a lot of people in this industry that are like that.
Do you think, or do you like, or do you enjoy the fact that being the way you are, even though it probably does cause you a lot of grief and you feel like you get singled out a lot, do you think that's also brings a lot of attention to your brand and a lot of reason why you do have such a loyal and committed fan base?
Yeah. I mean, I do things different. Like when I come in town to an event, a lot of people show up just because they know I like to have a good time. I like just, I do things different. Like I'm edgy, man. I try to kind of stay ahead of the spear tip, If not, you're going to be left behind and die with everyone else,
Do you approach your company as a business, or is it more of a passionate hobby for you? Because that's an argument that's brought up a lot, and people really shouldn't get offended because everybody has a different statue of where they are in life. I'm a big Shark Tank fan, and I always love when Mr. Wonderful tells everybody, you have a hobby, you don't have a business. But you're a very versatile guy. You're into many other projects. You have another full-time job. Do you look at JSK as a full-fledged business, or is it a hobby for your passion?
I mean, it's truly a hobby for my passion. I love cigars. It's just something that just exploded that I think would explode. And then I started looking at it more of like a business when I started going into shops.
You don't feel that a lot of these things sometimes may negatively adversely affect your business? So, it's one of the two things, in your direction, right? You can have the freedom to do what you want, say what you want, be how you want, and not care when you're approaching something as a hobby, right? Or, a hobby for your passion. But when you look at your business growth, do you think that sometimes these things negatively affect you, or no? Or you're not even worried about that?
Not worried about it at all. My cigars still sell. They
sell. But do you see, this is where the business side of me comes out. Do you look at the people that it doesn't sell to and say you've lost those people because of that?
I mean, in the cigar industry, if my political views are different from another shop, I mean, I've been kicked out of a country because of a political view. So, I mean, I'm not gonna be like, well, fuck, I fucked up. Let me change my thoughts and views of what it's into something I don't believe in just to gain a sale. I don't care if I lose a sale.
I mean, listen, I think it gets confused. No one's ever thinking anybody should change their thoughts and views based on anything. It's just how we express those thoughts and views.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're out there putting, that big hand thumbs up to the FDA, you know, are you not concerned about how the FDA reacts? Because no matter where you are in this industry, whether you're you or one of the big guys or guys who've been around for 30 years, the FDA affects us all the same.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah, I mean, when they pass legislation or change something, I mean, it's not changing by class or size. I mean, it may be harder on smaller guys because what it's going to take to follow regulations can be more difficult, but the regulation is going to be across the whole board.
Yeah, I mean, it affects everyone. I mean, it's going to affect the smaller guys a lot more when, you know, your lawyer's charging you $500 just to write some fucking paperwork that's going to change in 6 months, and now you're another $500 an hour on it.
Literally,
I've been there. It sucks, but I mean, they really haven't passed anything that's, you know, set in stone yet. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Okay, Riste's just going to hack. Why do you have such a reputation for being a hacker?
I've done some things in my life I really don't want to talk public about.
Okay, so it's not an unfounded, it's not an unfounded reputation.
I just happen to be able to get more information than others sometimes and see stuff that comes up before people. And I have access to certain security clearances where I work at. I mean, I'm good at computers. I don't look like I'm good at computers. I'm that nerd that you would look in anywhere and be like, nah, that guy doesn't know shit about computers. But theoretically, if I wanted to, I can walk into your store and anyone's on your Wi-Fi, I can see what the fuck they're doing. And if I want to change all their shit, I could shut your shit down if I wanted to. You know, it was a joke the first year I was at IPCPR. There's a brand next to me who was really big into IT security. And we just started talking shit. And I'm like, man, how funny would it be if we pay the $800 the PCA wants us to get on the Wi-Fi, and let's take all these orders that come in through the Wi-Fi and make them all zeroed out the next day. How you know, am I capable of doing that? Yeah. Do I do that? If you pay me a lot of money, it's possible.
I think the first time Riste was on KMA Talk Radio, our whole computer crashed. Like,
yeah,
as we went to go broadcast the show.
Yeah.
So
we were like 10 minutes in or so, or 5 minutes in, and everything like destroyed itself.
I didn't do nothing. All I did was just send an email out I was going to be in your show that day.
No. It just equipment failure. So we ended up literally, instead of airing at 10 o'clock, I think we aired at 2.
Yeah, because you're like, when do you leave tomorrow? And I said first thing in the morning, and you were exactly like, fuck, I got to get a computer built.
We did that afternoon.
Our web guy came in on his day off, went and bought a computer, put it together, and we ended up doing the show at 2 in the afternoon. So then Riste, to solve our problem, says, oh, you know what? I got a server. I'm going to send you a server. Use this. He said it's a computer that looks like it could take a shuttle to the moon. Like we don't even know what to do with it. I've never seen this CPU is like the size of a dining room table.
Yeah, it's a solid 5 feet long.
We look at it every time like we're in the warehouse. Like, what are we going to do with this? I have no idea.
In a body bag.
It's like giving me a 36-cylinder engine. You know, what are you going to do with it?
I mean, the body bag was a reference that I killed your show.
He did kill the show. I think it was the most watched episode of KMA in history.
It was the second.
Yeah, I believe.
think. Who was your employee that fell and knocked out all your cigars like the next day or 2 days later?
That guy doesn't work for. That was in Pompano.
Yeah,
It was done.
that was probably the most watched video, but show wise, yeah.
Yeah, that was the most watched thing we ever put out there. That's I think the only thing that kind of went semi-viral.
Yeah, hey, that was hilarious.
Have you ever considered, Riste, like, if I mean, obviously JSK is successful and you've got a following, why keep the day job? Would you get rid of that ever, or is it just too good of a deal that you have? And
I mean, just recently they paid me a lot more money to stay. I kind of set up the whole infrastructure for the government, and I mean, I'm home by 1:30 every day.
Wow.
You know, I get to see.
Right, so you can see your kids off the school
yeah.
bus.
And I can do my job anywhere. You know, I think this is the full second week of work I've been the past 2 months. You know, I just work remote from my office, the garage right here, and it's literally a 10-minute drive. Why would I give something up that, you know, they pay me good money and I'm home by 1:30? And they're very flexible with me. They know what I do. I mean, I started this company at that office. You know, if I say, hey, I can't be in tomorrow, I got to go fly out to so-and-so to go do a cigar event or whatever, they're like, all right, cool, just sign in when you can. If you have a problem, we'll call you. So I'm given the freedom to to do it. I mean, if it came down to where it said, hey, you can't do this anymore, you have to work here, then they know. I've told them plenty of times, I'll leave. I've been there 10 and a half years, so. But I run one of the most secure networks in the whole state of Indiana as far as government audited. I had Purdue University came to my network and wondered why the whole state got hacked and we didn't get hacked, and they audited my network and the whole infrastructure. And you know what I'm saying? I have a pretty good pedigree on that.
Is JSK as a company where you want it to be?
Yeah, it's still alive, doing well.
Is it where you expected it to be as far as growth wise?
I mean, growth, I can't talk about growth because I grew pretty fast. You know what I'm saying?
Early on, quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it caught fire, and I think I'm doing well as far as, I still get calls from, smaller brands, for like just marketing stuff and stuff. It's just, I think it's where it's at where I want it to be. I'm growing. I'm still growing. I still got stuff, in the plans that come out this year, next year, and so on.
I always look at my own company internally because I just, it's funny because Alex and I will have meetings about this. I never really look at it as to where I want to grow to. I mean, sometimes I'll make a statement that's like in the next couple of years we should be here or there. But I actively look at the growth and follow it and at least make sure that we're trending in the right way. And I just don't know. Me as a businessman, I just figure I don't look at it as that's ever a point where it plateaus. I think of it. If I can't continue to find ways for my company to grow, I think that's the time I'm out.
I think companies that like set milestones and want to hit, like, I need to be at this point, at this level, at this time, I think they kind of fail because it's in the back of their head. Like every decision they make right now they're thinking about that milestone when, if you do the opposite, it could get you there faster. You know what I'm saying?
We don't set like hard, like milestones. Yeah. But what we do is continue to think of cool things.
You want to be progressive.
Yes, and we find ways to innovate and do cool things, and then we do watch that growth because that is part of our thing. And I think for me personally, if I get to the point where I'm unable to do that and unable to keep being innovative and see the business grow, I think that's going to be a sign for me that my time has come.
One thing I didn't know was going to happen. I got an award from Dojo for being the most innovative man in cigar, like 1 year. I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
It's the funniest comment, but most accurate. Jerome Wilkers, facial structure I inherited from my father. You'll never see my top teeth. I could barely show my body.
But he does have top teeth. I've wondered the same. He does have
it's a facial structure from my father. When you see my father smile, it's the same thing.
I've never noticed that until now, and every time I see him on TV,
me too. I'm
literally going to be watching to see your top teeth.
I can't believe that he actually made that comment because that's been a thing my whole life. When you see these kids all smile in school photos, they got these big chiclets going on, and I'm just like, I never have a teethy smile. I go to the dentist and or show your teeth. It's like,
he works on your bottom teeth only?
It's so hard to do. And if my head wasn't angled down, you wouldn't even see my bottom teeth half the time.
Oh, that's hilarious, man.
Yeah. It's a facial structure I inherited from my father.
I see my company. I like it where it's at. I've traveled a fuck ton because of my company. I've met so many people around the world now where I do other business outside of cigars with too. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, to answer your question, yeah, I like where I'm at.
Good. I think that's an important thing about a businessman, an entrepreneur, man. You got to be happy where you're at, and if you're doing that, in my opinion, regardless of anything else, you're successful.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it. Good. So listen, we're going to have more with Riste. We're going to talk about the Half Wheel article from a couple of weeks ago. We got the Coop coming on with the Scoop Coop this week, and we have we don't. Sorry, we have no Coop this week. But we do have a new episode of Name That Jam and a very special edition of Tale of the Tape this week, all coming up in hour number 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Keep it lit.
The H. Upmann 1844 Classic is a medium-bodied cigar with wonderful flavor notes of toasted almonds, cocoa, coffee, and just a hint of spice. Featuring an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper, you get wonderful aroma notes of sweet coffee and chocolate. Available in a Corona, Robusto, Toro, and Churchill,
This is a great time to experience the nuances of nature with the H. Upmann 1844 Classic, a shade above others.
Surgeon General warning: cigars are not a safe alternative to cigarettes.
Oh, you got me. This is kind of where I come to take my breaks to get away from Honest Abe. The solitude in this room is amazing. A great cigar, a great glass of wine from our friends at Bonner Private Wines. You know, right now, Bonner Private Wines has a 3-pack sampler of Malbecs that you should really check out. You know, some of the vineyards are so high that the grapes are under so much stress that the fruit is filled with so much flavor. There's no additives to it. It goes great with a nice cigar. An Argentinian Malbec, the original strand of Malbec. And listen, we can give you a deal. We got.
Oh, sorry. I just got your text. I apologize. I hope I didn't leave you waiting.
I mean,
but you've been in here a while, if you can.
No, thank you. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Don't worry. It's just it's medical. It's medical. See, you can try this sampler. It's great. Please take my word for it. Go to KMAWines.com. You'll get a discount on shipping. You'll get a discount on the package. And then you'll even get a discount if you like it on the Wine of the Month Club. And there's other packages that you can buy. But our friends at Bonner Private Wines, they make a great glass of wine. It really is awesome. And KMA listeners get the discount. So why not try it out? What are you doing? You've been waiting for a new commercial? I've been hiding out in here. Someone put a camera in here. Let's go. KMAWines.com. I'll be back in a few minutes, Abe. But guys, seriously, can we get a courtesy flush or something in here? Jesus, people, they're ridiculous. Animals.
And there you have it. Welcome back to KMA Talk Radio. As we mentioned before the break, William Cooper won't be on KMA Talk Radio today. His father, John Cooper, passed away this week. And of course, he's spending time with his family, and we miss him this week. We wish him and his family all the best. And we're just going to take a moment of silence here for William Cooper's dad. All right.
Our best to you and your family, Coop.
Yes, sir.
So Riste, we have Riste here.
Condolences to Coop and his family.
Yeah, man.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, sir.
Never a pleasant experience. So.
Never a good time.
Nope. Well, that being said, before we get into the rest of the KMA show, Riste, we have a special segment brought to you by Abo Cigars. It's called Name That Jam, and we're going to ask you to see if you could name that jam right now. This is how this works, Riste. We're going to play you a very short segment of a song, and we're going to see if you're going to be able to name that jam. So, Paul, hit it.
That was a Doors.
Okay, what song?
It's not Roadhouse Blues. Give me People Are Strange.
Is he correct, Paul?
Okay, I'm correct.
When you're strange, faces
Wow.
Paul, I don't know if you remember this, but we do have a footer for this segment. That one of these weekends, I hope you'll be able to check it out. Remember, Alex?
Do we?
Talked about last time.
No, that was the other segment.
Both segments.
That's the other.
Doors are my jam for a long time.
He made them for both, or he made them for both. I was pretty sure.
I get the other one. Yeah, doors are my jam too.
But
Well, I didn't know Abe's a big Doors
I don't
fan,
have
too.
that one.
Oh, a huge Doors fan. Riste, in fact, one of my favorite performances by Val Kilmer.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Played Jim
one of
Morrison.
his best works.
That was a very good movie. Yeah.
Roadhouse Blues is my favorite from them.
Riste, you have successfully named that jam. This segment was brought to you by Avo Cigars. Thank you, Eddie Guerra, for your support of KMA Talk Radio and this awesome segment. And now moving on.
I expect an Avo box in my house in 3 days for winning that.
We should talk to Riste about that if they get it right. Maybe we should talk to Eddie about that if they get it right.
It'll be cool.
That's not a bad idea.
No. Well, you know what's funny is some manufacturers actually believe like other manufacturers wouldn't want cigars, but being in retail, I know all these guys smoke other people's cigars.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants to eat their own stuff every day.
Exactly.
If I had a restaurant, I would still go out to other restaurants.
Yeah.
I know people that work in restaurants that have food delivered to them to eat.
Yeah. So that's funny. All right. So the half wheel article. So let's talk about this. This caused a lot of controversy, a lot of hype. You felt like this article basically singled you out.
I felt it was something that he had written. He was waiting for the right time. I mean, it was. I commented. It was a well-written article. It was.
Well, I mean, it's without a doubt, and I think he mentioned in there, he wasn't trying to sing you out, but your article, your product was the motivator for him writing this. Take out the fact that you make this brand or Nugs or Nugless or any of these. What do you feel about the merits of what that article said?
The merits of, I mean, it's stuff that's not set in stone yet. I mean, it's not. Is it going to affect our industry one day? Yes, it will.
So you do or you don't agree with the basically the points that were made in that article?
I mean, whose imaginary line are we talking about that I crossed?
Well, this is a great point of the debate, and a debate that kind of goes on often, right? Do we ignore the potential problem until it becomes a problem, or do we try to avoid it? Like I always talk with my kids, like I know when mom's in a bad mood. I tell them, you don't ask the question now. It's not you're not. A lot of it is timing. So do you feel, and do you honestly feel that pouring fuel on a fire is irrelevant until they actually pass a law? Or do you feel that as manufacturers, retailers, or anybody, and I'm not saying my own opinion here, I'm literally legitimately asking you, do you feel that we should have a certain responsibility not to put ourselves in the crosshairs and maybe create something that would negatively affect us? And let me just tell you something. This has been going on long before you, long before the last 5 years. This has kind of been going on, I'd say, for a minimum of 10 to 15 years of products like this. I think what's happened in the last decade is it's become more prolific. More and more people are doing it because consumers seem to be very responsive to it. So the question now becomes, are we being responsible? Is there a need to be responsible, Riste? Is there a need that, whether you're a retailer, manufacturer, a consumer, a brand owner, is there a need for us as an industry to be responsible, to be conscious of what's going on, or do you feel there's really no need whatsoever?
I mean, it's been coming for a long time. It's not going away. The FDA is going to do what they want to do before I release that cigar and after I release it. Nothing's going to change. As a brand, like I said, I'm edgy. I just thought it was really good packaging when it came out design. I mean, I was following the market trend of just consumers and what they're buying. A lot of this stuff that's been coming out for the past 2 years, like hardcore wise. But like the fact that like what rubbed me the wrong way was I'm targeting kids. I'm not targeting kids. I just made a product that's going to look better on the shelf versus the other companies that are doing it. I try to stand out. I mean, if you want to talk about a product that like poked the bear, I mean, the sign behind me that said "fuck the FDA." I poked the bear 2 years ago with that. It's just like
I don't believe.
I mean, I'm not putting like kids on the packaging, which some brands have, but I'm going to do what I want to do. I mean, I didn't I didn't break a rule or regulation that's in place. It's coming. Anyone that's traveled overseas knows it's coming. You know, it's the rules and regulations for tobacco are hardcore. And that's been said years ago. You know, it's coming to the United States. You know what I'm saying? If you want to do something, which I wanted to make a flavored cigar, it's not even really, it's subtly enhanced flavored. You know, I wanted to make it. I wanted to make that cigar before that rule came in place.
What does subtly enhanced flavored mean? Because I'm just curious, honestly.
I would have sent you guys a bag. I still thought you guys were in the studio, but when you smoke the cigars, you still taste the tobacco. You get subtle notes of just like it's subtle, very subtle. On the retro, you get the Rocky Road taste, the chocolate, the marshmallow, but you're still smoking a premium long filler cigar where it still tastes like a cigar. It's not something that's been hosed down at the warehouse, sprayed on flavoring where you don't get any hints of tobacco. I mean, what flavored cigar in the market right now, when you smoke it, you're going to be like, you know what, this tastes like a cigar. There's really none. It's all or none.
So, I mean, no disrespect. So I hope you understand is somewhat.
Oh, none taken, bro.
It's somewhat of a journalistic show. I have to play a little bit of a devil's advocate.
Do your thing, bro. Ask me anything you want.
So as a guy who actually went to Capitol Hill and went from these senators' offices to office to office, and the first time I met Marco Rubio, he made time, sat with a whole bunch of us in his office, who's done that walk, which is a brutal walk. And it's a very depressing walk after you meet these people and talk to some of them.
Yeah, because you realize you spent a shit ton of money for something that's not changing.
Not even that. It's the basic. They don't care. Some of them just don't care, right?
They don't give a fuck.
They don't care. Yeah.
No, some of them just actually don't care. So when we're in those offices and we're trying to explain to some of these legislators the difference of our product compared to what they are really attacking, we show them packaging, and because I don't believe. So here's where we get in a little confusion. A company like your product is not landing in any 7-Eleven. It's not landing in any Costco. It's not landing in any Circle K or whatever liquor store around the corner is. But let's face it, a lot of these big companies do have product that land in those stores, and they exist. We've all seen them. We've all been to a gas station or a 7-Eleven or a Circle K, and we saw cigars in there. So, and this is something I said, I think, on last week's show, the week before. When I say there's more, it's not a few more. There's an exponential amount more of those places than there are premium cigar shops, which don't market to kids at all. I can't remember the last time I've had to card somebody or send them out of my store because they were underage. It seldom ever happens, right? Yeah. Kids are not walking to a premium cigar shop. But when I tell you there's maybe a couple thousand really, A-level, B-level premium cigar shops, and there's more than those C-type stores, convenience stores just on Manhattan Island.
There's 10 times more just in Texas.
100 times more, 1,000 times more. So
100%.
The reality of the situation is our product does get into places which children are exposed to. So when you sit in these people's offices, and I've been there, I've sat there doing this, trying to show them, this is our product, and then we show a box of Philly grapes or whatever, and this is what you're fighting. And we're trying to educate these people that these are not the same products. These don't have the same client base or pool, and these are marketed differently, right? And there are three types of reactions we get at that moment. We get a moment of enlightenment by some actual decent politicians who aren't closed-minded and say, oh, I never knew that, and they become educated. We get a moment of support where they're already knowledgeable. And then the third reaction is, we don't care.
Yeah, why am I here listening to you?
What you have is tobacco. We don't care how you package it, how you market it. And they don't even try to hide their animosity and disdain. This is how I feel. Get the fuck out of my office, right? So those are the three reactions. But when we're put in those situations, especially with the guys in the moment of enlightenment, because that does happen, I've seen it. Do you not feel that products like these make it more difficult for us to oppose and hold that argument? Because
what I released, yeah, sure.
Not just what you released, all these types of products, whether you go to pickle juice, this, that. I mean, it's been going on forever. I mean,
yeah. I mean, you sold a cigar that had a Chinese finger trap on it.
Right. I mean, right? I tried to stress it. You haven't started this trend, and you're not the cause of this trend.
But it sounded like in that article, it kind of did. I was like the main culprit.
Like I said, I think you were the spark that fueled the fire for that.
Yeah, but where was that spark
going on long
3 or
before
4 years ago? Where was that? Like in 2015, when I started the company, going into 2016, the FDA like came out. They said they're going to start going towards cigars. I could have said to myself, I'm going to close my company down because the FDA is coming, but I just chose to keep doing what I'm doing. You know, I just figured until that goes in stone, I'm going to do what I have in my head. You know, I do infrastructure data for the government. I know how the government operates. FDA can sign something tomorrow saying flavored cigars are banned, but it's going to take 2 years to go into stone. Do I see it coming? Yeah. Is it hard to like FDA? Well, look at this bag. It's got Rocky Road on it. Look at this bag. It's got popsicles in the fucking packaging that look like ice cream bars. Look at this bag. It's got
kids' TV show characters or whatever the culprit is at a time.
But
do you feel on some level that takes away from what little argument we have when we're trying to sway people or educate people on the reality of our part of the tobacco industry?
I think the biggest thing that takes like the part of like what we have to fight is when Kretek got their clove cigarette classified as a cigar. No one gave a rat's ass when that happened. That was years ago. You know, so now like your best $30, $40, whatever Davidoff on your shelf is still considered the same kind of cigar to the government as a clove cigarette. I think the wording and definitions are wrong.
So for our listeners who may not know what you're talking about, there was a time and period where there were a lot of, well, first of all, cloves were very, very popular, which was a form of a cigarette. And there were flavored cigarettes at the time, cherry, chocolate. Yeah. It was actually a big selling part of the business. And it just got shut down. Like, that's it. And what I always did find odd was all flavored cigarettes got banned except menthol, which I don't know how menthol wasn't considered a flavor. You know, it's very odd. But I think it was maybe a year. So all the stuff people were buying, like consumers were part of their everyday lives, was gone overnight. Sold out.
Yeah, you couldn't buy cloves anymore.
It was gone. And I think within a year they reconstructed the cigar. So it had homogenized cigar wrapper and whatever, and they became little cigars instead of
I mean, I read everything that's put out. And I've been saying this for over a year. I mean, I give props to Halfwheel because I learned more about what the FDA is doing than the PCA puts out. You know, normally it's just a copy of what Charlie writes or, an in-depth look at, and it's just reposted. But like, I didn't break no laws. I didn't break no rules. That's how I look at it. I just followed what's being sold, like prime example. I'm in the car yesterday and I just picked up my daughter from karate practice, right? And I was drinking Liquid Death sparkling water. My daughter goes, I want some water. So I gave her the can, and my daughter's like, why are you giving me a can of beer? I go, no, it's water.
Right.
So, I mean, it's marketing 101. What's the point of marketing if you're not going to grab the attention of people? I just feel like I did a really good job at it. I didn't brown paper pack it and put a sticker on it. Like, I said, it's just, did it get blown out of proportion? Yeah, it is what it is. But I look at bad press as good press, and good press is, press.
I mean, press is press, right?
Yeah.
I mean, one thing Halfwheel did is they brought you to the forefront of everybody's attention. If they had
same thing with all the people that shared me, like, I respect Carlito a lot, but Carlito blocked me when I released the nugs. So like, someone sent me a screenshot. Hey, you shared your Halfwheel article review, which, I mean, you didn't see my press release until you scrolled all the way to the bottom. So am I going to stop eventually when there's a rule or regulations in place for me not to do it anymore? Yeah, I'm not going to break any packaging laws. But that's coming. Packaging laws are on their way. I mean, we're an industry that pays fees that are going to we're paying fees going to the FDA to regulate us. So we're eventually killing ourselves slowly. A lot of people don't know that.
So here's a couple questions that I have lined up. Do you feel that it's inevitable that we will have generic packaging eventually in this industry?
100%.
Okay, if that's the case, do you feel at all on any level that some of the products you've made, 20 other guys have made, there are guys in this industry, that's all they make is that kind of product. Do you feel that those actions will help make that more of a reality, or you just feel it's irrelevant?
You're asking me if the products are going to make that more reality? I mean,
it helped the cause of making this actually happen. So my question in essence to you is, say there wasn't any of this that existed. No, cartoon characters, no, whatever, all this stuff that's been made.
I think you're right when it says pouring gas on the fire, but it's still going to come eventually because there are those huge groups that are anti-tobacco. Tobacco's tobacco to people outside of the cigar world. People that don't smoke tobacco will just look at tobacco being bad.
So you feel that regardless if none of this existed, none of this controversy existed, that we will eventually end up in generic black and white packaging.
Yes, because they've had so much success in other countries like Ireland, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, where they collect so much tax on it. And why wouldn't they? Government likes to make money in any way possible. So yeah, it's coming. I mean,
do you feel that we as an industry have been ineffective in gaining any kind of ground with government regulation? I mean, we have had a couple victories.
Yeah, a couple of victories. Yeah, they're great. The stickers was great.
So then my question to you is, if there's a 5% chance that we can avoid, because let's face it, none of us.
I don't think there's 0.5% chance we're going to avoid this.
Really, that bad?
It's coming. No matter what. That's the number one thing. Every time I'm overseas, everyone's like, "You guys are so lucky that you get to display your products, you get to do creativity and everything." But it's coming. Eventually, it's coming. I mean, one day it's going to happen where you're going to have to tint your windows on your cigar store because the public is not going to be able. If you have a humidor with cigars in it on the window, and like I want to say in Holland, if a guy walked by and saw cigars in there, you can get fined for that. So one day you're going to have to darken your windows to the point where no one can see inside your store because you're a tobacco store. I mean, the regulation is coming. It's just, depending how fast it is. They kind of sidestepped us because they saw vape. They saw how much money's in vape. So they attacked vape at the same time. I mean, my question is, why were we in a bill that came out that included 422 pages of vape regulations that could come in, 67 pages for tobacco? Tobacco industry is a very small industry. There's not the amount of money people think there's in there. Government's going to go and collect all the money first in other industries, and they're going to hit us next.
So you want to hear my theory on why I think that generic packaging will be avoidable in this country?
Go ahead. My
theory is that this is one of the few cases in which big tobacco's helped us. If they go to that kind of packaging for premium cigars, that packaging will have to exist in cigarettes. And I don't think the cigarette lobbyists will allow that to happen. That's just my layman ignorant. And this is not a theoretical or, anything, but that's just my layman case is I think that after, 50, 80, 100 years of branding the Marlboro logo or whatever it is, these guys
they're not going to let it go to that.
They're not going to let it go. They'll pay off. They'll dedicate another $10 billion to anti-tobacco and quit smoking clubs and whatever. And of course, which the government will pilfer their fair share of those funds, and it won't happen. That's just my belief. I mean, let's face it, Riste, you know better than anybody. Half of what dictates anything is money.
Money, 100%.
If RJ Reynolds wants to donate $10 billion to state agencies to help people quit smoking or whatever, politicians are going to find their way to
I was at
that money.
I was at one of the big four guys' house, right? And he said, "Riste, I donated $250,000 yesterday for our cause." I go, "Okay." He goes, "What happened is someone against their cause donated $2 million the next day."
Wow.
So where does that 250 go? Nowhere. It just got obliterated. Any talking points or anything you wanted to talk about, the $250,000 was just blown out of the water by $2 million. I mean,
that's what a lot of
money's going to win.
Yeah, that's what a lot of consumers don't realize, that the premium cigar business is less than 2% of the whole industry. It's less than 2%. There are more cigarettes sold in an hour, I think,
than a year in cigars. Probably
in a year in cigars. I mean, it's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, we're fighting the best we can, but the writing's been on the wall for a long time. I just read it a little bit different. Like I said, I made this cigar because I know it's coming. I didn't want to wake up 2 years from now and be like, "Man, fuck, I really wish I made that cigar," and see what would have happened.
And this is a proprietary flavor adding method, correct? Risty?
Correct. Yeah, I own the in the United States. I own a patent for. I mean, you can look it up if you want. I own a patent for the system and apparatus of enhancing cigars in the United States.
Is that the same process that you use for
nugs?
the CBD cigars for nugs?
Yes, the CBD ones and the THC ones. Yes.
Okay.
Just curious, how many patents do you own?
I own one patent and probably 100 trademarks. I look at people collect Jordans.
It's
I collect
expensive
trademarks.
keeping those trademarks alive, man.
Trademarks
it is.
are not cheap.
I just got 3 emails right now. I got to renew.
I'm telling you, it's expensive.
It's expensive as fuck. I literally got 3 emails this morning for 3 of them saying I got to renew. You know,
It's expensive, man. They find their ways to milk their money, man.
It's government. You know, but yeah, I own a patent on that, which I spent really good money on that one. You know, but could the FDA come out and say we ban flavored cigars? Sure. How are they going to ban them? Or stop importing them, which is going to fall on the importer. They can find the importers, and no importer is going to bring your cigar no matter what you pay. You know, unless you want to just driving through Mexico and come across the border. You know what I'm saying? Instead of smuggling drugs, now you're smuggling
flavored cigars.
Yeah. You know, I mean, that package to me looks great. My designer made that, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Never in my mind did I say, holy fuck, that's going to target kids. You know,
that package.
Well, I guess that's the argument.
But here's the thing about that packaging. Someone said it very well. You could literally release a plain paper white bag, or not white bag, but white plastic bag like that, and people already know what your product is. You know,
and how many cigars does that package hold?
5-pack. 5 cigars. That's the only cigar I sell right now off my website, and the reason is because I donate 10% of sales to one of the original 9 members of the OG9 who kind of started Ristefari. He passed away just recently, and so 10% of all the money I make on that cigar goes to keep his kids, doing summer sports and so on.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
great. And
like I said last week on Dojo, if you think I'm targeting kids, those are the 3 kids I'm targeting with that bag to make them money.
Yeah, I'm not sure, especially in your case, if the argument that's particularly, targeting kids is really an issue or irrelevant. I just think that it'll be definitely something.
Oh, I get what you're saying. It's gonna be
products like that will be used to say that we are.
Yeah, I mean, is there a good chance that packaging might be used as an example? Yeah. Yeah. I would just say I did it better than everyone else.
Honestly, that's a food, right? So
I
see that less marketing to kids who use children characters as part of their brand.
That's the line to me.
That for me is blatant marketing to kids.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean, but here's the thing: that package is probably the only packaging like that that's 100% true. I'm telling you, it tastes like Rocky Road. I delivered you a cigar that tastes like Rocky Road. Other people's call it
doesn't sound bad.
No, I mean, other people do chocolate bar, nutty butter, whatever, and you smoke it. Like, there's family members in my family that don't smoke cigars, and when I first released Red Night, a review came out saying it tasted like hints of cherry and so and so. Well, one of my family members like, well, do you like roll the tobacco on cherries, or like do you rub the cigar with cherries and make it taste like cherries? They don't smoke at all. So it's just like,
right?
Is media targeting other people too?
I mean, I don't think there's anything in Rocky Road that isn't something that people have not already used in a description of a flavor of a cigar.
Correct.
Right.
It's some chocolate, tones of marshmallow, nutty creaminess.
I'm smoking one right now.
It's all stuff that we've seen written descriptively about how a cigar may taste. So that's why I said, for me, food is not an argument. I don't see Rocky Road marketing to kids as. I want to go buy it. Rocky Road's literally my favorite ice cream. So
I need to get my hands on some. I have to try it.
I would have sent you guys some. I thought you guys were still in the studio.
No, we haven't
it's
been
not
in the studio
at all, man.
Clear Channel kicked us out of the studio right during COVID when COVID started.
Nobody was allowed in their buildings.
We couldn't get our equipment for weeks.
That sucks.
That's why we got.
They had to bring our equipment out for us. We weren't allowed to go into the building. They brought it out to us.
You adapt, right? You adapt. I mean, we're kind of the same. We adapt, right?
This show is a perfect example of our adaptation. I actually believe the quality of the show now is better. We've gotten to figure out how to work the system and the StreamYard and the technology that our quality is actually better than it was when we were in the studio.
Yeah, but when COVID hit, regulations came out. you were still open, right? You found a loophole that restaurants were open, and so you considered yourself a restaurant versus a cigar lounge, right?
Well, we had our fight. We did consider it, and they told us we could until they told us we couldn't. They actually came and kicked everybody out one night and shut us all down and threatened to. I mean, we went through it like everybody else, but we just, we didn't roll over and die. We kept swinging. You chose not to die, right? Yeah, we kept swinging, which is kind of one of my things about fighting the government and regulation is, me philosophically, I don't like to live in a state where I say, yeah, it's inevitable we're going to have plain packaging. I just rather be able to fight, and if we lose, at least I know we died trying to fight it the best we could, than just say, fuck it, this is where we're gonna end up. I mean, but like I said, once again, I have like an inner theory that we won't get to that plain packaging point because the part of our industry that actually we fight most often will probably be the part that'll protect us from that.
I mean, in my opinion, it's coming. It's just what I've seen. It's coming. I just, I every week there's a new city or state that's banning flavored cigars. I could have just looked at that and said, hey, I'm going to lose my customer base over there, but I just chose to fight. I believe in that big middle finger behind me.
There are cities now. I know up in the Northeast that are banning menthol.
Mm-hmm.
Which
really? I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I can't remember if it's New Jersey or Connecticut or Massachusetts. One of those.
So how does that work for you, Riste, with a product like this? Then, if you're selling this one direct to, are you selling this to brick and mortars too, or no? This is just online.
Eventually, I will. Yeah, there's actually been quite a big emails and phone calls from brick and mortars that want this cigar. I'm doing a special release in May with the shop where I'm making. You guys are gonna fucking hate me when it comes out too. So it's like a breakfast blend of 5 cigars that are flavored that pair very well for your breakfast. You know what I'm saying? But when you see the packaging, I think Charlie might have article 2 point something come out with that. But that's what stands me apart. You know what I'm saying? I like to do edgy shit, and shops like what I do. But yeah, there are cigar stores that want it. Once I come out with I want to say 5 flavors and develop a really nice display for it, I'll start going into the stores. But right now my focus is just to raise as much money as I can for that family.
So Munchies will be a series of different flavored cigars. That's the idea.
Munchies will be a series of flavored cigars, and there's also going to be a Munchies 2.0 where it's going to be flavored with CBD. You're going to have a flavored CBD cigar.
So Rocky Road with CBD. So a flavored Nugs.
Correct.
You look like you had a question, Paul.
I think
listen. I'm one of the proponents of Nugs. You know that, Abe. I mean, I was living the Nugs life for a long time. I very much enjoy it. I prefer the 20 milligram.
Yeah, would you smoke a 20 milligram? Yeah, exactly.
Totally would.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm one of the few people. I think. I mean, maybe here at least. I don't hate flavored cigars. I like infused cigars. There's a time and a place for them, in my opinion. Last night Alex and I were working. I didn't want a flavored cigar last night. I felt like hardcore. It was the evening. I wanted a stronger cigar. But yeah, there's definitely times when I enjoy a flavored cigar. The fire tiered ones with the flavor. I started smoking Tijuana Smalls cherries when I was 20 years old or whatever.
Flavored cigars are the gateway to the cigar industry.
Yeah.
And what Munchies is, and a couple of people told me this at Ristevski, and one review guy told me this. He's like, you kind of bridge the gap because there's not a cigar that can take a flavored cigar smoker into a premium cigar, and there's not a premium cigar that can take people into try a flavored cigar. Right now, everyone that's smoking Munchies right now are hardcore non-flavored cigar smokers, and they're buying the shit out of them because they love how it's subtly enhanced. It delivers the tobacco profile, it delivers the profile in the bag that was mentioned. And so it's like a bridge. It's going to bring the flavored cigar smoker who really, you're not going to get a guy that smokes a hardcore flavored cigar and jump into an anniversary Padron. You know what I'm saying? They'll kill the guy. So it's kind of a bridge,
You don't think Acid Brand was a bridge?
Well, just from managing the store, the only real bridge that I kind of had between the Acid Tatiana guy, the only bridge in between was Baccarat. because it was like slightly less. It's just tip that. So really, there's not a lot of bridge options between this straight to a regular cigar.
I'm not a sweet capped cigar maker.
But that was the only kind of bridge between flavored and then
saying,
like sweet cap. There was no,
But what goes into flavored cigars right now? The flavored cigars right now are made by, I got a pile of that tobacco I can't use in my core blend, so let's just flavor the shit out of it, put it out, not waste product. You can't smoke 5 flavored cigars in a day. You wouldn't enjoy it. The next day, it would suck waking up. One guy told me, he's like, I'm trying to figure out why I should have smoked the rest of his bag today that I sent him. It's different. And everyone that smokes it always tells me everything I hate about flavored cigars is not in this cigar. But the packaging caused a lot of people in the uproar. I guess what it is. So I guess I'm known for doing that.
Well,
Do you think if you had put it in a regular box, none of this would have happened? Or do you think you would still catch flack because it's a flavored cigar, flavored with the flavor that it is?
I don't know. What caused me to put it in the bag is all the logistics nightmares we have right now. I'm getting stuff overseas, and that bag is made in the United States. The turnaround time was if I put it in a box, if I ordered my boxes a month and a half ago, I wouldn't have got them until September. Versus I ordered this and printed it, and I got it in 10 days. So I don't know what would have happened. The box would have looked badass. I'll tell you that. It probably would have looked like a box of ice cream box or something like that. Right. Or something. But I just made a packaging that delivers. You read my bag and it says Rocky Road, and you're going to be like, wow, it tastes like Rocky Road.
I really am enjoying the show because this is what our industry should have more of, right?
Yeah, we should have more of this, but
just dialogue. Everybody has such a hissy fit.
Yes.
Yeah, people get pissed off. They bash people on social media. Whatever.
And and look, I'm part. It depresses me to say it, but like I'm part of like the old regime, right? I was the new guy in the industry, and now I'm part of this old legacy of people in the industry.
And hopefully, I'm part of the old legacy down the line too.
Yes, God willing. And there is this. I don't know why there's not more of a connectivity with the younger generation of the cigar group where dialogue like this can happen. Because I think Riste, like a few other people, they just feel like they're the outside guys looking in. And if you come from that perspective, then, you're going to do what you're going to do without ever feeling like do you feel like you're not part of the industry? That's basically the question I'm asking you. Do you ever have
a great question
that you're not really part of the cigar industry?
Some days, but then those are the days I choose because, like I said, I walk my own path.
I understand, but see that's where, for me, I think it's bad for us. A guy like you should not ever feel like he's not part of the industry. You could be part of the industry and choose your own path. God knows I've done it many times, right? But I think there's a lot of companies who have that feeling, and I don't think it's healthy for us as an industry. And I think there needs to be
one of the best.
The PCA is not really a ground for these type of discussions, during a trade show. I think this industry should have a retreat, maybe a 2 or 3 day retreat annually, and invite everybody where dialogues like this can actually happen once a year and talk, where input from guys just in the business for 3 or 4 or 5 years,
at every level,
did it for 100 years, can share and express their views and some commonality and some maybe better understanding of long-term play is, because people have a different mindset, and let's just be real. Most of these guys are in industry 3 to 5 years. They're thinking about today, tomorrow, right?
Yeah, they're thinking about next week's paycheck.
Yeah, they want to feed their kids. They want to, but these guys, they're thinking for great grandchildren. Some of these companies, they're definitely looking way further down the road in what their plays are, and makes the decision-making process. And I've kind of had this talk with Alex, because when you deal with some of these companies like a Padron or Fuente, I make 100 decisions a day. But for these guys, every decision is a legacy decision. It's like the thought of, how is this going to affect my grandchildren and great-grandchildren who are going to be in this industry? How is it going to affect them? I can't imagine making decisions like that on a day-to-day basis. but they do. And that's why sometimes they're not the most innovative, because innovation is also scary, because you're building on 100 years plus of reputation and you're thinking 100 years forward. So I don't know. I think an annual.
I agree. There should be like a gathering of that, but what I see from a gathering like that would be I can state what I want to do, or like what Willikers has said, an industry roundtable.
Yeah,
I can just see what I want to say, just get passed along and be like, the big guys, the guys that are doing 20, 30 million cigars a year is like, nah, that's not going to work. We're not going to let you do that. So like, people are saying we should self-regulate, but then whose idea and methodology should we like self-regulate on?
But Risty, here's the problem. Any great concept, idea, or anything begins with discussion, right? I mean, nothing's ever going to happen if we can't get together and just talk.
Yeah, but we know how this industry is.
I didn't necessarily agree with everything you've said on the show today,
yeah,
but I can respect
which is fine.
But I can respect it.
Yeah, you don't hate me more, do you?
No, I don't hate you at all.
That's the problem. Like a lot of people, like we've come to the point in life with technology. Is like, oh, I don't like his viewpoints. He's a great guy, but now I fucking hate him. But people can't sit down and have this discussion because people are just washed not to have this discussion. Like,
well, that's the problem. Eventually, it's something I'd like to see breaking through, because, like, if you're conscious enough to understand that, okay, the way I think, because I'm thinking for 100 years down the road, and the way a smaller guy might think, isn't going to be the same. If you could acknowledge that difference in day-to-day operating and what your short-term goals are as a company, then there's hope of maybe finding some commonality. If we don't acknowledge that difference, then we just continue, like you said, we just end up hating people and closing doors, and nobody in this talks. And I think as an industry, we could do way more united.
Yeah, we can. We should start 5-6 years ago.
Probably 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but when the FDA started getting serious in like 2016, we should have, hey, we're in 6 months, everyone flying, we're having a discussion, a conference, and how we're going to tackle this together. One great interview, someone said, and this was 2 years ago, and this guy does 12 to 15 million cigars a year. He donates, but then he said, "Is like I donate so much money where I still can't sit in on those meetings with other guys." So is there like a cash level or something to get certain answers questions?
I don't know, but I mean, I think the key to it would be the proper moderator, right?
Yeah,
somebody detached has to moderate an event like this.
Every form of this industry should come together and decide how we should regulate each other versus someone's imaginary line that supposedly I crossed.
But once again, if we don't talk, there's no hope of it ever happening. So I mean,
but we don't talk. I mean, more people bashed me 2 weeks ago versus anything else I did.
I agree.
I mean, one person said, "I'm not. If you're in the cigar industry and you love it, you should read this article and not support this brand." I've never said anything about that brand. You know what I'm saying?
Which I find immensely odd, because people. I don't know why people sometimes just don't think further. And you could ask Alex, because I'll think about this all the time, whether it's my employees or other business. This is a guy who's trying to feed his family and make a living. If you don't like it, don't buy his shit. But who made you the promotional lobbyist and guy to start a crusade? I mean, I don't understand that. And I think that's the problem where discussions break down, is no one ever really steps back far enough to try to truly understand somebody else's position on something. That's where I think the problem is. But who knows? Maybe this discussion will lead to something. Maybe someone from the PCA or somebody will hear this and say, maybe it's not a bad idea that we do this. Because I don't think it's healthy when guys like you or guys at your level, because I'm sure it's more common than people realize, is you don't feel like you're part of the industry. How can this industry ever be whole if we have people out there who don't feel at times they belong in this industry?
After that article, I feel like I was targeted not to be part of this. Like, okay, so that fucked the FDA sign, right? So PCA happened about Nugs, right? So TPE called me, the TPE show after the Nugs thing happened, right? And that's when I released Fuck the FDA. And I was going to release Fuck the FDA at TPE. The president of TPE, or one of the people at the board, called me. He's like, hey, we got a bunch of phone calls from a lot of brand owners and industry guys and also their lawyers that they do not want you at the show. I go, okay, so why? And they're like, well, because the FDA is like 5 or 6 booths from you and you're releasing a cigar. I said, fuck the FDA. Now, I respect TPE on their answer they gave me. I asked them, so am I allowed to come to the show? They said, yes, you're a paying member. You can do whatever you want. It was kind of different at PCA. I was given a set of rules I had to follow to be at the show. Mind you, this was 5 days before PCA. I already shipped all my cigars, which was a lot of money. I hired
Everything
a
was there.
truck. I hired a truck to sit outside in the parking lot in an air-conditioned environment, so my samples and my cigars were not dried out.
They were unsensitive to your situation.
They didn't give a shit about my situation.
Right.
It was, hey, you have to do this or you're not allowed.
You can't. Right. You can't do this. You can't do. Right.
And
Right.
wait
And 5 days before the
and
show.
wait too late in the game.
So my money that I paid to be a member, I'm not bashing the PCA. This is all facts. I was told pretty much, I don't care what you pay in your fees or whatever, this is what you have to do. At that point, I wasn't looked at a paying customer or whatever. You have to do this or you can't come to our show. I already shipped everything out. I spent thousands of dollars to get all my stuff there. So now I had to conform to it, because what am I going to do? Just say fuck you and send all my shit back, pay another $5-6 grand, take a 10,000 loss before a show on the floor. I chose to go that route, which it helped me out in sales. I sold a fuck ton of nugs that month and the next month and so on. But I was given a set of rules and I followed them. If the FDA comes out with a set of rules, I'll follow them. TPE said, do whatever you want. I chose not to fly that banner that said fuck the FDA, which I knew they would see every day walking past my booth. But I had people come and buy that cigar that said fuck the FDA and said, I love the voice you're putting out there through your branding. That cigar came out. I won a packaging award for that cigar. I was number 5, the only packaging of 10 cigars against all boxes. Where was the outlash on that?
Who awarded you that?
Half Wheel.
No way.
Yeah.
That's kind of ironic.
I didn't know I was going to win it either. But what it was I took the 499 pages they sent out to every brand and anyone involved in the FDA. I took the cover letter. And that cover letter and fuck the FDA is what I got. And I said, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? You got to rip the regulations to open a cigar. I said, fuck the FDA, which is eating my logo on the band and a bunch of middle fingers around it. I got a packaging award for that. So I got congratulated for poking the bear that time versus this time. Is it oxymoron or no?
A little bit.
So it's just like.
Dr. Gabby Cathy has an interesting comment. What's OT mean? I mean, all I know is overtime. I'm not sure what's fucked up about the conversation.
I don't know. I met him in Germany for the first time for a few minutes. Really nice guy. Smart, very underrated in the cigar industry as far as the knowledge and everything. Cathy's a really smart fucking dude. Doctor. I watched that show you had last week on him a couple of days ago. The whole thing. Very educational. Like, he knows what he's talking about. So how he said he got invited to come to these boards. I do all my own FDA paperwork. I do all my regulations. I never got invited to it. But I was one of the first ones to get a response in the cigar industry where a guy, a huge, I would say in the top 6, called me. He was like, what did that letter say the FDA sent you? Their lawyers knew I got the first response from the FDA. I did my own paperwork. I chose to give that paperwork to the PCA and it was showed to everyone else. And when I went overseas, they're like, oh, that was your document. That document helped the cigar industry more than anyone can think. Because we had finally a basis of what to stand on and show the business overreach the FDA was doing to everyone. They finally came out with those 12 rules or testing parameters that we had to follow. And those testing parameters were outrageous because they wanted us to follow the testing parameters of cigarettes.
Which doesn't apply.
Huh?
It didn't apply as well.
It didn't apply well, but if you look at the definition of cigar at the time, the definition of a cigarette and a cigar, the only difference is the cylindrical size of the product. A cigarette at that time was still considered a cigar. The only difference was it was just a smaller portion of tobacco in it.
Well, this has been a pretty heavy KMA episode this week. Talked about a lot of topics.
But this is stuff people in the industry don't talk about. Customers don't know. I mean, right now it's just like, well, this guy released a Rocky Road and so and so said I'm a fucking asshole, and you should not smoke his shit no more. That's what they look at.
I think that's a problem that's often in this industry is consumers will jump to react, and most of them really don't understand the inner dynamics of any situation.
Yeah.
Within this industry, whether it's a price increase, whether it's a shift in this. I mean, we get it all.
There's gonna be
all the time. Just our little microverse of Smoke In about people will comment without understanding what.
Here's the only negative thing I see about your cigar roundtable. And you know how this industry runs. If I sit down and say this is what I'm doing for the next year, what's stopping so-and-so brand to do what I want to do in 1 month, because they have the capital, versus me coming out in 6-7 months.
Well,
So that's happening.
I don't think any roundtable should discuss marketing plans or releases. I think it's more of just a philosophical, of how we want to move forward as an industry as a whole. I ain't going and telling them what I'm doing over the next year or two. So I don't think that's the purpose of a real roundtable, right?
I don't think the industry as a whole at the point. So we got to get as a whole together before we even talk about it. It's just no one calls me and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" or "Hey, what's in your mind?" or "What do you think about this?"
I don't think it's about what you're doing. I just think it's about how do we want to approach problems that we face as a whole, whether you're small, medium, or big. And there's a lot of people, and I saw a comment in there, the big are trying to stamp it. It doesn't always work that way. There are a lot of bigs that do work with smaller guys. And anytime you see any one of these big companies do a joint project with a boutique manufacturer, that's them working with the small guys. I'd rather be positive than negative. Yeah. I'm a firm believer that there's hope. I'm a firm believer that anything is possible if you really try. I'll tell you what I do know is nothing is possible if you don't try. So if you want to sit here and tell me 100 different ways why some things work, well, then it's not going to work.
Here's my question to
I'd rather focus on the 2% chance I might have to try to make something positive happen.
Here's my question to PCA, and this is a fact. The regulations were coming out. We had to start applying for applications, right? Where was the template? Where was the template we should all follow as an industry as a whole? And because I got a lot of shit, because I do my own. I did all my European stuff. I got more help from people in Europe, businesses, where I actually got a template how to apply for the EU regulations in Europe. Follow this and you should be good. That never happened in the United States or in the US. It was, hey, you're on your own, figure the fuck out.
All right.
That's what I don't get.
That pretty much takes up our time for discussing all this stuff. We're gonna end the show on a lighter note. We're gonna hit.
Did you announce a special yet, Abe?
No, bro. We were so in deep.
No.
Go ahead and do it. We were so deep in conversation. It slipped my mind. Go ahead, Alex. Before we hit the last.
Sure. So, okay, absolutely. So, through the weekend, in honor of having Riste on our show, you can use code JSK15 to save 15% on all JSK products on the site.
There you go.
There you go.
And then run a raffle. Whoever buys my stuff from Abe, run a raffle. Whoever you pick, I'll send them a bag of munchies on me.
Well, there you have
There
it.
you go.
Hey.
So,
Riste just made more work for me. Easy work, but
yeah.
there you go.
So if you're watching the show now or catch it over the weekend, go use the promo code JSK15, save 15% off any of his product. Monday we'll draw the names and we'll do a random raffle.
You have until midnight Sunday night to get in the raffle.
And then he will
or midnight Monday.
I'll ship you something next week when they come in. I sold out of them. They sold out. I couldn't believe how fast they sold out.
Beautiful. All right.
I was just looking on the site.
All right, closing out. Don't go anywhere, folks, because I got a big teaser coming up at the end of the show. So if you're thinking about checking out now, don't do it. Trust me. So stay till the very end. We have a very special edition, since William Cooper is with us today, very special edition of Tail of the Tape with the four of us, and we're going to get Riste's input. We're going to start off with this special edition of Tail of the Tape right now. I just thought of something watching that. So it's season 4, which Coop and Alex are doing mascots, but we do this kind of often when something drops off. And
I thought about that too. We need one for a generic.
You need a generic special edition.
Special edition one.
Yes. So the topic is best. I don't know. We didn't specify potato, did we?
Chip.
I think we did.
Did we? I can't remember because we set this up.
I mean, is a potato really in a lot of chips these days?
That's what. Yeah, Riste and I were arguing that before the show.
More than you think. Lay's is still a big company.
Okay, like one. Okay, one.
Ruffles. It's more than you think. I listen. I'm with you. The most creative ones aren't the potato chips.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just styrofoam flavored.
But mine is totally styrofoam. So, so let's. You want me to start? I'll start. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I think my most underrated and favorite chip is Munchos. All right, can't find it.
Flavored styrofoam.
Oh, look, two for $1.
Let me tell you something.
Two for that. So it looks like a Swisher Sweet. $2 for $1.
I don't know. It's the oil and grease on them. I don't know. It's the light texture, man. But you could eat a bag of these like nothing. I'm not a potato chip guy.
Yeah.
But this is one of my all-time favorites. Oddly enough, not easily found, not everywhere. If you haven't come across a bag of these and you're a potato chip person, highly recommend you get yourself a bag of Munchos.
I'll go next. I have a passion for this potato chip company, even though they got bought up by a big company. But I love the Cape Cod potato chips. I went to the factory. I was so enamored with them, actually. But the kettle cooked ones are my favorite. And actually, this is going to sound weird, but the reduced fat ones I feel are crispier. So if I see like the reduced fat ones and these, I'll grab the reduced fat ones. And I don't think there's much of a taste difference, but
I don't do anything.
I'm just saying they're crispier.
Especially potato chip. I mean, if I'm a potato chip.
I mean, you're grabbing a potato chip because you want to be a fat fuck, right?
Right. All right, so I went with Hers Old Bay potato chips. Number one, it's Hers, legendary company, and it's Old Bay. What doesn't taste better with Old Bay?
I haven't had those, so now I have to.
So down here, you probably can only find them in Wawa. Wawa is the only place I think.
Really? I pass by Wawa all the time. All right, I'm gonna have to get it back.
Yeah. So
but
again,
Hers has some great. Hers has some great potato chip flavors. They have the ketchup flavor that's delicious.
How about Riste? What's your favorite?
I like Flamin' Hot Cheetos. I love them. They're great, but the experience of cleaning your hands afterwards is even better.
Oh, it's I see. Well, they'll come sometimes. We buy the giant bags for my son for school, and that's one that I just got to. You just got to pour it in your mouth. I don't even go.
Cheetos crack the bag and just
Cheetos have to pour it.
Going in, it's awful.
You have to because your hands are red all day if you
all day
normally
all day.
Yeah, I like Flamin' Hots.
I have Coop's Pick as well, which I wonder if anyone has ever seen it.
Let's put it up there. What is it? Charles Chips.
Charles Chips.
That is a William Cooper pick if I ever seen one.
Absolutely.
1,000%. What the hell are those? I meant to Google them.
That looks like his song picks too.
Juan Lopez, Funyuns, my number 2.
I see. Funyuns was my second.
Early.
I said Funyuns.
Riste was torn.
Funyuns is my number 2, man. It's right up there with Munchos.
Funyuns are great.
In fact, I might have went with
Munchos. No, they asked me before the show.
Yeah, I don't even know what Funyuns is. Is that potato? Is that some form of potato? I don't even know.
No, it's onions. Well, it's supposed to be onions.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no real onions in it.
If we were branching out like we just did, I almost might have went handicap hot fries too.
Handicap hot fries, classic.
Abe loves them. I love them too, but you know what I go to more than anything if we're just talking like chips I love Cheez-Its. I'll grab Cheez-Its any day of the week, any time of night. Oh.
Never been a Cheez-Its.
My son is heavy Bugles and Cheez-Its. Like
Bugles. And you put them on your fingers.
And Bugles. Yeah, all day.
Bugles are good.
I love them. Bugles are great.
Before we have some epic news little tease coming up at the end of our show, we're going to go into our final segment, our newest segment that replaced a Sane Asylum this week. This is Would You Rather? I know Juan Lopez has been on all show. I hope he stuck around to say
he's one of the industry guys I love meeting on the road.
Oh yeah,
it's a great time with Juan Lopez.
I was gonna say he's got to be fun. He's got to. He's just an all around great guy, though.
100%.
I have to thank Juan for being the model for that intro for us.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
He
So-
happily did it, bro.
This segment of Would You Rather has been brought to you by Gurkha Cigars. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, Riste, and you're just going to have to answer them very simply which one you'd rather do. Ready? Here we go. Would you rather wear the same socks for a month or the same underwear for a week?
Oh, are you asking me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Socks.
Really?
I'm a big.
Me too, man. I don't know if I can wear the same
sweat-
underwear for a week.
I sweat when I sleep, bro. I'm a big dude.
I don't know.
I
You know what
I
I'm saying?
can't deal with like wet socks and you sweat. I mean,
Yeah, wet socks suck, but you want wet underwear or wet socks?
If I'm going to be rank, I'd rather my feet be rank than
Yeah.
my crotch.
You can hide them. You can hide them with your shoes. You
I
don't have
agree.
to take your shoes off.
All right. Question number 2. Would you rather have a pause or a rewind button in life?
I have to pick one.
That's the name of the game.
would you rather?
Pause.
Why did you say that?
I kind of everything I do is kind of like what I want to do. I don't like. I have no regrets in life.
So a pause button. Okay.
Pause button.
Would
See,
you
my
take a-
argument in my head was like when you pause it, you get that moment to like enjoy what just happened, let's say. Or if you rewind it, you can relive that same experience over and over again.
I
Or
think
you
most
can
people
change
that
it.
choose a
Or you can
rewind would
change
want to
it.
change it.
You could change it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think anyone's going to.
No, I wouldn't want. Okay.
Listen, I
If
mean,
you're looking
listen,
at it that way.
I don't know if you've been in a car
if you
accident.
had a rewind button, you could have took Luca off that teaser.
Yeah, he fucked me last night.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right. Final question in our Would You Rather segment brought to you by Gurkha Cigars. Would you rather be forced to live the same day over and over again for a full year or take 3 years off the end of your life?
It depends on the day.
You can answer it either way based on whatever you want
I'll take 3 years off my life.
off the end of your life.
Yeah, because
Wow.
we've all seen Groundhog Day, and he hated his life.
Right.
That's true.
You know.
I don't know.
Well, that's
I mean-
fair too, because I don't know what that 3 years is. You know, do I got another 30? All right, I only got 27, or do I got another 5 and now I only got 2? I don't know. I can't answer that. So.
But I'm also saying the 3 years at the end of your life, probably your diapers or
Yeah,
you know,
if
Yeah,
I-
probably not
never-
great anyway.
If I'm in
Yeah.
a diaper and a vegetable, roll me off a cliff or something.
yeah.
Right.
I mean,
right.
listen, you know, if I got to take a Saturday where Marissa's going to pick up a shift at Carrabba's and I got to watch the 2 kids for 10 hours for a year straight, I'll take the fucking 3 years all day long.
Yeah,
Because it's taken at least 3 years off the end of my life anyway.
I agree with that 100%, man.
All right. In our closing segment, we got a couple news for everybody. One, also make sure you follow KMA Talk Radio Smoking Cigars on social media. Join our Smoking Social Facebook group. If you haven't done it already, trust me, it's a great place to be. Next week on Smoking Social, we're going to announce the 10 winners from the Great Smoke. We'll have the opportunity to buy the 2021 TGS edition Opus X green box, probably the number 1 sought after unicorn. A couple other big things next week. One other big thing next week. I believe sometime next week, I don't have the exact date, we will officially be taking pre-orders for the beef stick edition of the Red Meat Lovers Club. So it worked out very well for us last year. Nobody crashed the site. Anybody who wanted the cigar got it. It was nice. All they had to do was put a $25 deposit down. We're actually going to streamline how you could conclude the transaction at the end of the year. Make it very, very simple. Make sure we make everybody happy. That news will be going up. And then the other little tidbit I have for you is news will be coming out very soon on this.
It's upside down.
This. Our 25th anniversary cigar by Drew Estate is finally here.
Ah.
All garage. There's going to be some very cool and very special stuff going on regarding the cigars, and that's going to drop soon. So please, if you haven't followed us, follow us on social media. Join our Smoking Social group. Next week, man, we haven't had this guy in the show for a while. It'll be interesting to see what he's got to say about a lot of things going on. George Rico of Grand Habano Cigars. So that's going to be interesting. Risty, thank you for joining us.
Congrats on your 25 years, man.
Thank you, brother. It was actually supposed to be last year, and we got pushed during a couple other things, but
You took a pause, so it's all
we
good.
took a pause.
We took a
But
pause.
Do you hit the pause button?
Don't forget JSK 15% off all JSK products through the weekend, and Risty threw in a raffle of some Rocky
Yeah,
Road.
and thank you for having me on the show. And This was scheduled before the whole article came out, so everyone can understand. This was
this was not let's jump and get Riste on the show because there's controversy.
No, it was actually very, very cool, and we're glad to always have you on. And we hope if you joined us this Saturday morning, we taught you a little, entertained you a little, and you had a lot of fun. Until next week, everybody, keep it lit.
Have a good.